Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Susie was like, today we're doing something a little different. If you didn't notice, we're sitting in my podcast studio. You guys, this has been a freaking process. Let me tell you. I started working with Podcast Nation back in I think May, and we started batching episodes and sorry, I'm itchy under here. And pretty much for the past, half a year, we've been batching episodes, working on bringing really fun, juicy stories to you guys on my podcast, Live, Laugh, Lies. I have a small room in my apartment here in LA, and I wanted to transform it into a podcast studio. So Podcast Nation did all the design on this. It's so cute. Not gonna lie, we ran into some speed bumps along the way. It's been a process, it's been a lot, and still kind of dealing with it. The wallpaper is so cute and great, but it did um fall down a little bit. So we're working on stabilizing that. It's super cute. It's very girly, it's very vibey, all original artwork, which is fun. But yeah, it's really been a really fun process. But it's also been really hard and challenging at times. But I'm so excited to finally have a studio at home. And so today I figured I would do a little catch up with you guys. I'm going to show you some behind the scenes footage of getting all my podcasting equipment and getting the room set up. I've had a lot of TaskRabbiters come over and help me out. And also Justin as well has been a huge help that I'm really grateful I can rely on him to help me hanging lights and stuff like that. But this whole episode today is certainly not about the podcast studio, but it's just a big life update. So I wanted to share with you guys that. So I just wanted to do something a little different. I want to start checking in with you guys more on a personal level. I feel like my YouTube community is so supportive and so kind. And I feel like this is the platform where I can kind of be the most real about like everything going on in my life. And um I say things from time to time and allude to like just it having been a tough year, but I've really been just kind of going through it. Like it's just honestly been a tougher season of life for me. And really looking back at the past 5 years in general, like although I've had some of my highest highs, I've also had a lot of low lows. And I think that's all a part of like life and growth. And as you get older, you just start to realize like everyone has their like everyone has their family stuff, has their friend stuff, has their career stuff, their personal life stuff, their internal battles that they're going through. Like, I don't know, it's weird because I feel like in your childhood, adults seem to just be adulting and that they just have this figured out and then they know what they're doing and they're on this path, they're on this journey. And then in your early 20s, you assume you're going to get to that point where you just have this like defined path. And some people do. Like some people find that and it comes more natural to them or maybe they just choose a more straight and narrow path. And that comes with like and that goes for like relationships, that goes for career, that goes for friendships. Like I think that unfortunately for me, but also fortunately, like my life has never been in the same place for more than like a portion of time. So like the jobs I've taken have brought me to places far, far away, like going to college in St. Louis, but being from Virginia, then moving to Japan for 2 years and coming home and doing Miss USA and then coming to LA. It's like all of my friend groups are so spread out and I'm so lucky that I have like a really strong group of core childhood friends. And they're people I could call up right now if I needed them or if I just wanted someone to talk to. But it's different because they're not a part of your everyday life. So like my friends in LA they're people I've known for less time and I love them and I'm so lucky to have met the nicest people. I always say I'm like I don't know how I got so lucky because LA is not like known for being super friendly and a great place to make friends, a great place to date. Like literally everyone is like it's BYOB, bring your own boyfriend. Like everybody says dating in LA is the worst. And like I've experienced it. It's definitely not great. And, coming to LA, everyone says like, oh, everyone's so fake. Everyone said this. But I'm like, somehow I met the nicest people in LA, I'm pretty sure. And I collected all of them as my friends. But even that, like I'm not somebody that leans on my friends all that much. And so I think I do tend to lean on my friends from back home when I can. Or my family. I'm really close with my family. So I don't know. I think it's just been this really like unique season of life. And I'm curious if other people are experiencing this as well in their 30s, where they're just like, I don't know, I've picked up and moved so many times, and I feel like I've developed really strong, really deep friendships in all these different pockets of life. But then like I move again and it's hard. You're like restarting. And um, I think also in a line with being somebody that's kind of like picked up and moved and like been a go-getter and taken on too many things probably for my own good, I think that my life feels a little chaotic. And that's something in therapy right now I'm trying to figure out like a different word to describe, because I'm using it with a negative connotation about myself being chaotic. Like I am chaotic, my lifestyle is chaotic, my job life is chaotic, my relationships feel chaotic, and I think the common denominator is me in those situations. So my therapist was really really kind recently, and she was like very much like, I think that is a part of what makes you wonderful, and you need to find a different word to describe it, because chaotic does have a bit of a negative connotation. So I understand that. But yeah, I just wanted to come on here today and talk to you guys about kind of what I've been going through, and give you guys some perspective and some things that have helped me during this time and helped me kind of like realign and hopefully like build a bit more of a community on here. Okay, so I made little segments. I have my first one is wellness wins and fails. So for me, my wins are that I've been going to personal training the past 4 months or so. I like hired a personal trainer. It was really expensive and really scary. I've never spent money like this on a personal trainer, but I genuinely believe that this is one of the best investments I will make. I've gone my whole life like never really being content with like my body composition, which, oh God, this could be a whole episode in itself, you guys. Like I can love myself. I can love myself and see myself for what I really am physically, and appreciate parts of who I am and appreciate aspects of my physique, and also love who I am on the inside and believe in myself and know that I'm beautiful from the inside out. But I can also really struggle with my physical appearance. And it's been a battle my whole life. It's been a huge battle, and it was way worse when I was younger. I think that a big part of growing up is like you kind of grow out of those things. But in my early 20s, I had a horrible relationship with food. Um, and I mean that more so like emotionally. Like I would yo-yo diet, and I would get really into like workout fads and different kind of like diets, and do all these things that I thought were going to like change how I look. And like I was like, if I can just look like this, like I will like myself. If I can just like that, look like this, my problems will go away. And I think that's something as women that we feed ourselves that is just so not true. And at the same time, like I've gotten to a point like here in my 30s where I'm pretty sure like I've been about 20 pounds heavier than this in my life, and I've been about 15 to 20 pounds lighter than this in my adult life. And I'm kind of right in the middle of all of that. And I feel like one thing that I really want to focus on is building muscle. That's something that, like, through all the research, all the studies I've read, every podcast I listen to, they talk about like building muscle really in your 20s is the best thing you can do for your body. And I'm in my 30s now, and I don't think I ever have focused on building muscle. Like, yeah, I've done workouts with weights and stuff like that, but like, was my goal to build muscle? No, my goal was to like look different. And now my goals are to build muscle. Like, that is literally my goals when I went to my gym, and to have a fat ass is what I said. But building muscle is my number one priority. And I'm learning so much about like wellness in general through my trainer. And so one of my wellness wins is that I have a personal trainer. I go twice a week, and I'm building muscle, and I notice a big difference in my body composition. Even though like the numbers haven't really changed that much, I feel better in my body. And for the first time in my life, I'm like, oh, I'm starting to like my body composition better, because I'm starting to like lift heavier weights, and I'm seeing more muscle. And even if that's a look that maybe a few years ago I wouldn't have been interested in, now I see my leg muscles and I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I don't want to be skinny. And like, I did for so long, but seeing the muscle, I'm just like so excited. I'm like, wow, this is so empowering to know that I am like strong. My work is paying off, and it feels really good. I would say a wellness fail is that I'm not consistent in the gym outside of my training sessions. I try to get my steps in. I try to do a workout class here and there. But I have not been consistent outside of personal training. I will say personal training goes a long way, but I need to be more consistent. And specifically, I just even want to get into some kind of like yoga or something like that that's going to help with like my nervous system and my anxiety and stuff like that and moving my body. I just need something in that space that's going to be good for my body and for my mind. So I think moving forward, I got to set some more goals, like not intense, but 2 weight training sessions outside of my personal training and then maybe 1 or 2 yoga classes. Like I want to be a wellness girly. I think my whole life dream would be like to just be paid to be healthy. Like I wish I was a wellness girly. I wish I was a fitness girly. It does not come naturally to me. I was not like a serious athlete growing up. I got into athletics as an adult. And yeah, now I'm just focused on building muscle. And it just so happens that along with that, I am feeling more confident in my body. And it's so funny because actually I went to Vegas this weekend, which I will talk to you guys about next. But I got styled by my good friend Lisa. I'll leave her info below. She's so amazing. She gave me the most fabulous looks for the weekend. I will insert some pictures for you guys to look at. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt so good. Like I felt really confident. I felt really like secure. I was like, oh, I loved the fits, I loved the looks, I loved everything about it. And then 2 people replied to my story. And so 2 people replied to one of my stories where I legitimately thought I looked so cute and asked if I was pregnant. Let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with being pregnant. Pregnant women look beautiful. But to post a picture feeling like, oh, I'm about to be killing it. Like these fits are fire. And then somebody's like, oh my gosh, are you pregnant? Oh my gosh, are you this? Like I was so caught off guard. And I kind of thought it was funny and just like rude. But I feel like it's one of those things where you just got to let that one go because I felt fabulous. Also, something with the wellness fails is like, I do not want to leave my house past dark. Like, unless I'm specifically with somebody when I leave and come back, like, I literally like myself in and like barricade. It's so dark so early and it freaks me out. I feel like the world is so dangerous right now. And I feel like I have so much anxiety about all of that lately that like I don't want to leave my home. So that's hard because I feel like a lot of times workout classes happen in the evening and I just don't want to be outside. Like the world is scary and it pisses me off. Speaking of, I feel like there is something I want to talk to you guys about. I guess I should give a trigger warning for domestic violence. I had the craziest experience in Vegas this weekend that was really upsetting. And I've just had a lot going on in my life. I don't even know how to say this. You know what? I feel like I've just been in an emotional place in my life. I feel like there's like family stuff going on. There's life stuff going on. I am so sensitive as it is, but I have been like so hypersensitive lately. And so Justin and I were walking in Vegas together after like a big group of us had been together. We were walking. There were probably 10, 20 people around. Like there were probably 50 people around, maybe 10 people that saw this happen. We're walking and this man violently starts kicking the woman that he's with, like kicks her until she falls to the ground and like he literally attacked her. I was so shocked that people were not running to help this woman. I was so appalled and scared. Like I was the first person to get to her and there were probably 5 or 6 people in front of me. And then there were probably 5 or 6 people directly behind them that were even closer. Nobody helps this woman up. I'm the first person to get over to her, like literally have my arms around her, whisking her away to get her away from this man. Thankfully, he took off. I was so scared. Like I didn't even realize until I was like, had my arms around this person, walking her inside, that I was like, is this man going to turn around and try to attack me? Like the fact that he could do that in a public setting just terrified me for what that man could do behind closed doors. I've never seen anything like it in real life. It was so upsetting. I won't go into too many details as to what happened because you guys will never know who this person is, but Justin and I were able to help her to an extent. I don't know what to say. I don't want to share too much, but Justin and I did our best to help her. I was so shocked and appalled at how many people did not come to help this woman. And especially men. I feel like I just couldn't believe. Like, it doesn't matter what anybody did in that moment. Like, no person deserves to be attacked and kicked, essentially like beat the way that that woman was hurt. It was so horrible. Um and it just honestly broke my heart. Spent about 45 minutes with her, and then the next hour and a half talking to different people reporting it, and it was just the craziest night, super upsetting. um all that being said, it's, I don't know, that paired with other things going on, I feel like there's a part of me that's like wanting to find an outlet to give back to women and kids that are in need of help. Honestly, women, kids, and men. Like, I don't give a what your gender is. Like, people need mental health help. People need education. People need resources. Like, obviously, as a woman, I care so much about women, but I think the root cause of so much of this is like resources and education. And there's a part of me that's like wanting to do something bigger than myself right now. Like, I don't know, there's just a lot happening, and I'm like trying to figure out the best way um to be a part of something good that's going to help other people. So if you guys have resources or organizations that you love, I've worked with a few, but um I would love to know and see how I can contribute and help people that are trying to break a cycle, or people that are in bad situations. And I just want to send love to anybody that has experienced any kind of abuse, any kind of domestic violence. I'm trying not to like get emotional when I say this, because like I have never seen anything like that. And I'm fortunate that I have never experienced violence in that way. And what makes it even more sad is that so many people experience that on the day to day. And I think that was my realization in talking with this person, was like, it's a cycle, and it's so hard to break free from a cycle, and it's hard to help people sometimes. And I think the best thing you can do is help people when they're young, and help people feel empowered and secure and confident, and help people be able to provide for themselves and provide resources, and not feel like they need to rely on anybody, and that they should never be stuck in any situation. So I just want to send love to anybody that has ever experienced any kind of abuse. I hope you know you are loved, and you are strong and powerful and so worthy. Um okay. I know that was kind of a heavy subject, and I want to like talk about other things that kind of have to revolve around like self-esteem and confidence. I'm certainly not qualified to be like giving tons of advice, but I am happy to share some of my experiences. And so I have a segment called Advice You Didn't Ask For. Um this past week, my therapist sent me like the goals that I sent her when I first started working with her, which they were like, there was like 5 goals, and I actually have them here, and I'm happy to go through some of them with you guys. But she sent me these goals from 6 months ago ish, and she was like, here are your goals. Let's do a pulse check. Let me know how you're feeling. What do you think you've improved on? Where do you think we need to go? Like, you need to have benchmarks, you need to have markers along the way to tell yourself where you're going. So, when I first started, I'm not going to share everything, because as you guys know, I've been a bit more private about my relationships lately. So I'll share some things, but I think it's important to keep some things personal, just for my own mental health, and for the, the reason why I've made things more private in general is like, I'm not saying this about my YouTube community. Let me be clear. You guys are great. I'm sure all of you are fabulous, and I love every single one of you. But I'm saying this more so for people online who like to speculate and twist words and put things out there that are not true. I feel like my past relationships, when I talk about them, things get so twisted and manipulated, and soundbite clips or headline clips can be so misleading. And so I think for right now, it's been better for me to like maintain more privacy. But one of the things that I really wanted to figure out in therapy was my attachment style. I feel like that's something really important to be aware of. I used to think I was just like securely attached, but I think I'm more of an anxious avoidant. Is kind of what I've learned over the past 6 months, is like I have a tendency to be a bit anxious, but I'm not the type of anxious that's like seeking. I'm like anxious, and then I'm like, oh, let me protect myself before I get hurt. And so that's something I've had to be more cognizant of and be more aware of. Um, I had a goal in here about relationships that I won't really unpack. because it's a bit personal. And then something I put in here is that I want to build confidence in myself. I talked about struggling with some of my self-esteem issues. I wrote in here that maybe the security I have felt within myself wasn't real confidence, and maybe my confidence has just been taken or maybe my confidence has just taken a hit in the past couple years. Either way, I know I need to address it and do some things to build my confidence back up or shift where I'm getting my confidence from. I read this book called The Confidence Code several years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago. And I actually think it's really powerful. And I really went through this like self-help summer that year. I read a lot of great books, and I learned so much about like I say psychology, but it's like concepts about psychology that are written about in books. And I think I grew a lot that summer. And I think I'm kind of at a place now where I need to like revisit some of those books and maybe read some other ones as well, get back on my little self-help journey. But The Confidence Code is a really great book because I took a snippet of it out here. Confidence is a choice, not a feeling, and it's built through action, not self-belief. And it's crucial to embrace challenges and overcome self-doubt by taking risks, even when feeling unprepared. Essentially, confidence is about believing in your ability to perform despite uncertainties, allowing you to step into leadership roles and make decisions effectively. So, I kind of my takeaway from that and the book was like, confidence isn't being like, oh, I'm confident I'm going to win. Oh, I'm confident I'm going to have the best book out there. Oh, I'm confident that I'm going to get cast for this role, or like whatever the thing is. Confidence is knowing that whether your book succeeds or fails, whether you get the part or not, whether you land the promotion or get fired from your job, that you are going to be okay. So confidence is like not necessarily being so certain that you are going to be the best or win or whatever the thing is, but the confidence comes from being like, no matter what that outcome is, I'm going to be okay because I believe in me separate from everything else around me. And I think I used to have a really strong sense of that, and I've really struggled with that in the past couple of years, and I'm not really sure like where that stemmed from. And so that's something I've wanted to address with my therapist. There's been some like acute things in my personal life that we've really been focusing on as well, but we have unpacked a handful of those things that maybe I'll do an episode on at some point. But yeah, I put in here as well. I want to get clear on the direction of my career. I want to work on setting boundaries, and I want better communication skills. And that was specifically in relationships. I think that I struggle. I think I'm almost an over communicator when it comes to a lot of things. Like I feel like everything should be communicated. But I think that communication skills is not just saying everything that you're feeling or experiencing, but also like having the tools to communicate in a way where other people can hear you and be receptive. So that's something I wanted to give you guys. So I wanted to give you guys a couple of journal prompts that have helped me on this journey of like building self-confidence and all these things. Okay, so the first prompt is, what qualities do I bring to the table in my relationships? And this is just a great way to write down some of your positive traits and like combat any of those like negative feelings that you might feel about yourself. I think a lot of times we get down on ourselves and you start to think, oh, what do I bring to the table? Do I only offer this or that? And it's like, we have so much to offer. Even if we're a work in progress, like there's so much that you bring to the table. And that's a great prompt. Maybe start with a list in your phone of adjectives that you would use to describe yourself, whether it's like kind, funny, thoughtful, great conversationalist. I go out of my way to do this. Like however you want to word things, like it would be great to just like keep a running list of things that make you wonderful. And it's good to go back and read those things and remind yourself of how amazing you really are. Okay, the next prompt is, what are some areas of my life where I can prioritize my needs and set healthy boundaries while still being supportive and helpful to others? Also, are there areas where I have been overpromising and overwhelmed, and how can I address those things? I think it's a great prompt for anyone who struggles with enforcing boundaries. It's so much easier said than done, but I've done a really good job of stepping into, I call her new Susie, and I like literally make it funny. Like when I start setting boundaries with people, I'm like, this is new Susie. Like old me would have never said this. And I like make a joke of it, but I'm like, no, like I'm not going to let people walk all over me. And then the third prompt is, what are some self-critical thoughts that have popped into my head, and how can I rewrite those narratives? For example, instead of saying something like, "Ugh, I'm too much," you can say, "I deserve to be heard." For me, this is the word chaotic. As I was mentioning earlier, I need to figure out a way to address the word chaotic and stop addressing myself as chaotic and figure out a better word that's more positive to describe who I am. Yeah, I'll be working on that one. Okay, and then I wanted to, you know what, we'll save this one for next time. I had a couple of questions that people asked me on Instagram that I'm gonna answer for you guys. Mostly people just want to know about my relationships, but I am kind of keeping that more private lately. So sorry. Um, Somebody asked if I was in Vegas this past weekend. Yes, I was at Formula One. I'll be honest, I thought Formula One was a really cool experience. It was a bit like not prestigious, but pretentious maybe. Like, I don't know. I feel like at different pockets of different places, people were like kind of snooty. Yeah, I don't know. Like, part of it was really cool, but like I certainly wouldn't pay to go back again. I would go for work again, but overall it was really fun. I was with a great group of people. We hung out with lots of friends from the bachelor world and the social media world, so it was a great time. Somebody asked, "Can we lobby for you to be on Dancing with the Stars?" I would freaking love to be on Dancing with the Stars, but I actually think I'm like injured from I don't know what. Probably from working out without stretching, but I feel like my Achilles, like I feel like they're not that stable. And then I got bad knees. So as much as like I would love that, like the theater kid in me would thrive and just be so happy, I feel like I would need like prosthetic limbs to be able to dance just because I think my legs are too like worn and torn. How toxic is LA? I think it depends of what pocket you're in. Like we went to Vegas with like a really interesting group of people, and like we were a part of a group of like 100 people that were like promoters essentially, and we were like kind of separate from that, but we were brought out by the same group, so we were like at the same things with these people. And I feel lucky that I'm not necessarily like in that scene because I do think it can be kind of clicky. Like I had a girlfriend that was working some of the event stuff, and she texted me and was like, "Ugh, I forget how like clicky girls are sometimes, and like I wish you could be here because we were at different events, and unfortunately we didn't get to see each other, and it was like such a bummer." But I think that like I don't know. I don't have a ton of friends in the industry, I guess you'd say. I mean, I do have some friends in the industry, but like I've been really lucky. Like all my girlfriends, a lot of them are entrepreneurs, or like go out on their own and do their own thing. But I don't have a ton of friends in like media or entertainment, but I have a few, and the few that I have are the coolest girls you'll ever meet. So I don't find it super toxic, but I think it probably could be if you're in a different like group of people than what I'm in. What are some must ask questions for a first date? Also, questions to avoid. That's a really good question. I think you got to ease into some of the hard ones, but I personally am just at the place in my life where I'm like, I feel as though it's important to state what I want, and also just to be clear, like I'm not just dating for fun. Like I'm dating to find a life partner, and like I think you can put that out there and be upfront with somebody and be like, I'm like taking dating seriously, or I'm not taking dating seriously, wherever you're at. And then it's fair to be like, you know, what does dating look like for you right now? Like, what are you looking for? I think that's a really good first date question because it's just good to be on the same page. Someone asked if I'm team Jonathan or Sasha. I don't think there's teams, but I could be wrong. But I don't think there's teams. They're both amazing humans. I've met Sasha briefly. Sounds great. He sounds like a great guy from everything I've heard. He sounds like amazing and so sweet and such a like gentleman. And Jonathan also is like such a sweetheart. We've hung out a few times, like going out with groups of people, and he's amazing. And then somebody asked how to find a good man in LA. That's a great question, honey. I've been fortunate not to date that much in LA. I don't have a great answer to that, but I do have a friend that has a dating app called Hula. I think it's called Hula. And every guy that's on there has to be recommended by a girl. And it's for like safety reasons and for like, you know, we don't want to be on just any other dating app, and like you just have to have a recommendation from a girl, and like it's for the girls. So maybe check that out. But yeah, that was pretty much my little YouTube show I wanted to like put out there for you guys. I know it's kind of random. But let me know what you guys want to talk about. I feel like I'm just going to be sharing my health, wellness, mental health, and wellness journey as well with you guys. I love my little YouTube community. You guys are amazing. And yeah, thanks for listening. I'll see you soon. Bye.